Hi, my name is Jodi, and I'm a survivor of narcissistic abuse.
Hey all, it's Zoe here. Thanks for hanging out with me again today and joining the Surviving with Zoe podcast, a conversation where amazing inspirational survivors from all walks of life share their personal stories and expert advocates educate you, our audience, in order to break stigmas and taboos regarding mental health and trauma. Kind of like free therapy and permission to always give yourself grace and compassion as we are ultimately all just surviving every day. Before we dive in, we would like to add a trigger warning for anyone that is vulnerable to particular issues. Please pause if needed and check out our timestamps in our description if you need to skip ahead. Lastly, if you could please hit the subscribe button and follow us on Spotify, Apple, Instagram, and TikTok. We would really appreciate it since we are a new pod. We need all the love we can get. And of course, we want to amplify our guests' voices. Our guest today, Jodi Pavlock, is an author, certified narcissistic abuse recovery coach, whose life took an unexpected turn after years in a covert narcissistic relationship that slowly stripped away her sense of self. What appeared normal on the outside was, behind closed doors, a cycle of emotional abuse, trauma bonding, and manipulation that took years to break free from. After finally choosing herself and walking away, Jodi transformed her pain into purpose, writing her memoir, Jekyll Can't Hyde, in just 30 days and dedicating her life to helping others recognize the signs of narcissistic abuse and finding the strength to leave. Today, she supports survivors from around the world, guiding them through healing, rebuilding their identity, and reclaiming their power after abuse. Welcome to Surviving with Zoe, Jodi.
Thank you so much for having me.
So Jodi, take us back to the beginning and tell us your story.
Yes, so long ago, it feels like even longer when I go back and think. My autobiography is technically based off of two narcissists, my ex-husband and then my ex-fiance. My ex-husband really doesn't hold a candle to the ex-fiance. That's really where the story is solidified and around. But two different kinds of narcissists, but as an empath is drawn to a narcissist like a moth to a flame. That's basically what happened to me. My ex, I knew of him from years ago, so I guess there's a level of comfortableness when I say ran into him, because I never really saw him that often. He just was well known from town. And we just exchanged numbers, and it was very slow. I was actually going through my divorce at that time, so you could say I was extra vulnerable. And, things just progressed from there. And, back then when you're in the middle of it and you meet somebody fun and exciting and goofy and like, wow, this is a breath of fresh air. He's the complete opposite of my ex-husband. That's where I think a lot of the attraction came from, besides, an empath being drawn to a narcissist when, unconsciously knowing, and as the relationship progressed, everything was good, the love bombing phase, as they say. But the statistics are with narcissists, it usually takes them like 3 to 6 months for their mask to drop. It took my ex-fiance about 2.5 years for the mask to drop. So that's quite a long time. And granted, of course, we did see each other every day, but it was like at lunch or just quick at breakfast, because, at the time I was a school bus driver. And then he had his job that he worked in town. So, I'd run into him every day and we make time for each other, and then, see each other on the weekends. He worked overtime. Obviously, I wasn't living with him yet. So, once that 2-year mark hit, and then he asked me to move in with him, it was like 6 months later, that's when his true self started to show. And as I depict in the book, the first time he really, like a shell shock moment rather, where he was just cuckoo crazy. I literally could not believe it. Like my brain could not wrap around what was happening. And I was like, oh, he must be having a bad day, or he's just going through a midlife crisis, even though he was in his 50s, like kind of past that. I always deflect with humor, but spade's a spade. I tell the truth. We tend to make excuses for people like this when it's bad behavior, especially when nothing like this has ever happened before. And I think this is like around chapter 8 what happened. I had a photo shoot in Miami, and we flown there together. This was like right after COVID, around that time. And it was on the rooftop, and then I had to go to the beach, and he refused to come upstairs with me. And I was like, well, I want you to be a part of the photo shoot, you know? So he was kind of standoffish that day already, but now with my training, with the certification, and then I have a narcissistic abuse recovery coach as well that I still talk to twice a week, just to make sense of everything and just how I'm progressing and stuff. You know, they get jealous of you. And especially when something's not about them, especially the day, the moment, whatever, they start to take it out on you. So this was this aha moment. And for a trip that was supposed to be fun and like, hey, I'm doing a photo shoot, adding this to my modeling portfolio. Hey, we're staying at the casino. We're going to make a little mini vacation out of it. No. He purposely left his phone in the room. We were 45 minutes away. He didn't come upstairs. I came downstairs in a bikini, literally like hardly anything on. You know, everything was shut down. Like I said, this is around COVID time. I didn't know where he was. I couldn't get in touch with him. I had to go to the beach. So I was a nervous wreck. And see, you don't realize that back then how much you're in fight and flight mode, and your nervous system is on edge. And, you know, I told the woman, you know, who was doing the photography, I said, listen, I can't leave, because he was only my boyfriend at that time. I said, I can't just leave my boyfriend. I got to let him know I'm going to the beach. I can't just do this. She's like, well, you told him to be upstairs at 6:30. It's 6:31 p.m., which it was on the dot, and he wasn't there. And it's like, again, I know this was self-sabotage. He wanted to ruin the photo shoot, ruin my moment. So I went with her. We were there like literally a half hour. And then we came back from the beach, and I came back and he still wasn't there. So I just waited like an idiot, you know, like what else am I supposed to do? And I called my mom, and she was nervous, like, how are you supposed to get back? Where is he? So he came swinging around the corner, yelling and screaming at the top of his lungs. He was obviously intoxicated. And, you know, I knew he drank, you know, once in a while. And I knew he had a problem with alcohol and drugs back in his 20s. But again, I don't judge, you know, and this is like 30 years later, you know, because there's an 18-year age difference between the both of us. And, you know, whenever he would drink in the past, he'd be like a happy drunk, or, you know, oh, okay, I'm blowing off steam from work, whatever. Not that I ever gave rules, but I didn't really condone that kind of stuff. But I'm like, when he was harmless with it, I was like, okay, you know. But this was different. And he just started yelling and screaming, get the F in the car. So what do? I'm like frozen. I get in the car. And I'm thinking, okay, he's going to talk or something. Nope. He started the car, took off. I mean, blazing drunk, driving like 100 miles an hour. It was by the grace of God that we didn't get in an accident. A cop didn't pull us over, just absolute insanity. And he just started screaming at me in the car. I don't know if I can curse, but I'm just telling you what he said. You cunt, you whore, you bitch. This isn't all about you. F you. What the fuck's wrong with you? Just like, you took so long at the photo shoot. How dare you? You think I'm like your cabana boy, and you think I have to bow down to you. Just ludicrous, just insanity. And I was so like in shock. So it took me many, many years to get to that point with him, that flip side. So when he first did this to me, I was shocked, and then I get angry. You know, your mind has to process all these emotions. And then I started hysterically crying. You know, I have anxiety issues, and now, forget it. They're like through the roof, even after I left him, PTSD and everything. And I'm like crying hysterically, like, what is wrong with you? Talk to me. Why are you like calling me all these horrendous names? I would never say these things to you. I'm like, you're effing drunk. What the hell's wrong with you? You should have just came upstairs with me, be a part of it. You tend to over-explain yourself and start apologizing for things that you shouldn't be apologizing for. But again, in a sense, I was semi-conditioned to do these things with my ex-husband, you know, on a much lower level. But then the subconscious brings back what's familiar, right? So now my subconscious is bringing back familiarity. And that was a huge fight. We got back to the casino, and I remember like in the middle of the floor, yelling, screaming at me. He wouldn't get away from me. I just wanted to go to the room. He's like saying, F you, you effing bitch, I'm going to punch you in the face, bah, 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 bah. Nobody ever came over. Not that I need anybody to save me, but you think like security would have came over. You think just somebody would have said, hey, dude, you can't talk to this woman like this. Like, she's literally not saying a word to you, you know? And then we finally got upstairs. He followed me, kept, verbally abusing me and everything. And he finally passed out drunk on the bed. Like that. Thank God. I couldn't wait. I was just like, is it over? Is it over? And I remember, going into the bathroom, crying hysterically, calling my mom. I'm like, I literally don't know what the fuck just happened. I said, I literally am shell-shocked right now. I don't know what's going on, and he slept the rest of the night because, again, he was blitzed, drunk. And when we woke up the next morning, hey, babe, hope you slept well. Like, just like nothing happened. And I was like, and I'm thinking to myself, we really need to talk about this. But I'm like, did he not remember? Is he just pushing it under the rug? Does he not want to have an argument about it? Like, there's so many minds, so many thoughts that go through your mind. And I'm already an overthinker, which he would like to point that out all the time. Listen, if that's my worst quality, who cares? Okay. But it's mental warfare. It's just craziness. So I kind of just like let it be with that fight. Then he would be good for like another maybe 6 months. Then another little blip happened. It's hot and cold. I love you. I hate you. You're a fucking bitch. You're a whore. Oh, wait, you look sexy. Let's go fool around. Or, oh, babe, thank you so much for dinner. Or, oh, you don't make enough money. You're not good enough for me. It's a lot of this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And, I had about 2 really good friends. My best friend, Peggy, right in the middle of the fire of it. When I started confiding in her, like, listen, there's something wrong. Like, I literally feel like he loves and hates me. But I feel like it's more hate. And at first she was like, oh no, like, because she's an empath like me too. So we want to always see the best in people, right? And we don't want to believe that there's this kind of evilness in the world. There is, unfortunately. And, I tried to give him a chance, and she tried to open my eyes and say, well, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, which was good. That's what I needed at that time, So as time went on, we went on vacation together, or her husband, my ex-fiance, and I. And that's when they really started seeing the real him, let's just say. The drinking, the drug use that he thought that we didn't see, that we don't condone, okay? I don't drink, I don't do drugs. That's not my world, not my thing. I don't believe in it. And I would have never even looked his way if I knew he did any of those things. And then on top of it, the verbal abuse and cheating and God knows whatever else went on behind my back. So that vacation really opened their eyes to like what was happening. And then, I would confide in her when I have a little time to myself and say, I don't know what to do, Peg. Like, I really love him and want this to work out, but is this the real him? Is this what he was hiding all these years? And like, he's getting comfortable enough to abuse me? Like, it just didn't even make sense what was coming out of my mouth, because I was trying to make sense of it. So more time went on. And then as that time continued, like, they used to love to go to Atlantic City with us because that was like our thing, right? And let me tell you, they were in the middle of so many fights. Like, he would be drunk, and the one night he grabbed my shirt, you fucking bitch, you made me fucking lose. I'm standing next to him at the roulette wheel, not saying a word. Like, I love to gamble. He was playing. He's very cuckoo superstitious with stupid crap. Like, oh my God, you wore a red shirt. That means I'm going to lose. Like, that level of lunacy, just stupidity. And he was gambling. And then he would just go off the deep end. And, my friend's husband and another friend and her husband saw him grabbing my shirt and getting handsy. They came over and put their hands on his shoulders and said, hey, buddy, you need to calm it the fuck down with Jodi. She's literally just breathing, not saying anything to you. So what do? I get pent up. I start crying. I turn around. I go to Peggy and I said, I can't, I don't know what to do anymore, like literally. And they had to leave that night because her father was being taken care of with the home health care aide, and they had to get back home. It was like a late Saturday night. And they really wanted to take me home with them because they were not comfortable with staying with him. There's one of those words that I did not realize at the time, to realize that I could not even have free will to say, you know what, you're acting like a douchebag right now. Excuse my language. I'm not going to put up with it, and I'm going to go home with my best friend because I don't like this behavior. But I couldn't do anything without him. It's ridiculous. And then now thinking back, like when I talk to Peggy about these things all the time, narcissists love to do isolation. And like even when I was standing at the roulette table, he got so angry because I stepped away 5 feet just to talk to Peggy and say, hey, you want to use the restroom, to obviously have some girl talk. And then I looked up at him and he gave me those narcissistic black eyes, if you ever heard of it. It's like, you know, shining right through. And it's like, and then he did the smirk and I'm like, oh my God, like this man literally friggin' hates me. But he literally didn't want me out of his sight. So then when I came back from the bathroom and got back to the roulette wheel, Peggy and her husband Vic were standing behind me. He goes, I know you went in the bathroom and went and blew some guy. I know what the F you're up to. Always accusing me of cheating and stuff. It was so just absolute insane. But now from everything I learned about narcissists, he kept continuously accusing me of cheating because that's what he was doing behind my back. Projection, exactly. And literally, let's make this make sense, okay? He's at the roulette wheel. The bathroom is 5 feet away. Yeah, I magically just serviced a man in a minute and came back out. I'm like, woohoo. I mean, come on. Really, how old are we?
That's also again, very like offensive and degrading.
Oh,
like
yes.
it's like you have no respect for me like at all if you think that that's what I'm doing. Like
exactly. And I mean, I've said on other podcasts and in the book as well, I mean, I go down, even though I live up in Bergen County, I have a great hairdresser. Her name is Sammy down at Aesthetica Salon. It's in Northfield, New Jersey. It's like 2 exits away from Atlantic City. People think I'm crazy. Like, you go get your hair down in AC. Listen, I love this girl, love the salon. Been there over 15 years. They're much more affordable. And hey, I like to gamble. So most of the time, me and my mom go play for a couple hours. We come home. So that's a win-win, right? So, you know, when I would go down in the beginning, like, I would go with him to the salon. This is when he was being good. He would allow me to make my hair appointment when we were down in Atlantic City. But of course, it had to be a bartering thing. Like, oh, well, I'm allowing you to go get your hair done, but you have to pay for me to go to the barber at the hair salon. Okay. So I paid for him to get his hair done. I didn't mind. But again, that's another thing narcissists do. I do all this for you. No, you didn't do anything for me. You gave me PTSD, anxiety, wasted years of my life. And you lied about loving me and, you know, wanting to be with me. So again, I don't mind when you're in a relationship with somebody, you want to pay for this, you want to pay for that. You shouldn't be so forward and say, I expect this. I want you to do this. You know what I mean? So again, that was all about, that's some of my issues I deal with, people pleasing. It's just part of who I am. And I'm like, okay, well, he's taking me to get my hair done. Let him go get a haircut, whatever. So the good old days, I say, before he was abusive, he would take me to the hair salon and stuff. So then as years went on later, I would purposely make my hair appointment. And again, I'm all about full transparency. I would make the hair appointment either to go down just for the day, get the hair done, come back, or sometimes I'd go the night before, go overnight with my mom and my aunt at the casino, get my hair done and come back. Because you know what? I needed the mental break from him. After a while, it started becoming like I was the mother and he was the child, because it's like, I need a break from him, babysitting duties. It needs to be done. Like I needed a mental break away, because towards the end, it was more like, oh my God, I got to watch how much he's drinking and make sure he can get back to the room and not curse me off. And it was just like more of a chore than actually enjoying the weekend with somebody. So when I went down the one time to AC, he would call me on the Bluetooth. And he knew I was just going down for the day with my mom and my aunt, again, with family. And he called and he's like, oh, hey, babe, you almost home? And I'm like, well, I'm getting there. And he goes, oh, yeah, you're getting on the Garden State Parkway right now. And I was just getting on the Garden State Parkway. Probably had an air tag on me, whatever, location, because we share locations. I wouldn't have mind, but we just never thought to do that. And I just didn't care about that stuff. But I'm like, how did you know where I was? Like, that's kind of strange, you know, that's a little obsessive. And my mom's like, you know, she looked at me afterwards. She's like, that's a little weird. And then like a couple of exits down, he called me again. He goes, oh yeah, you're getting off at this exit. And I said, Frank, I said, yeah, I don't care if you know where I am, but I'm like, how do you know where I am at the exact spot? He's like, I fucking know everything. Like real, like nasty, like that devil came out. And I'm like, dude, you can know everything because I'm not doing anything behind your back. I have nothing to hide. You know what I mean? So it's just little things like that. And then he would literally get mad if I would, go out to dinner with Peggy or, go out with my friends for dinner. Even just going food shopping with my mother. He called me one time when I was in ShopRite. He's like, why are you taking so long shopping? Meanwhile, I'm paying for all the food, okay? I'm paying rent, cable, and everything else. I'm doing my part. And he knows I'm with my mother. He's at work. And I said, well, I'm looking for sales. It's a little bit busy. He's like, I know you're blowing the guy behind the deli counter. Always with these BJs and stuff. I'm like, dude, I said, I'm in ShopRite right now. And I remember I started getting angry. I said, I'm going to hang up right now because I'm getting really frustrated and I don't want to say something that I'm going to be upset about later. I'm going to talk to you later. Go back to work, stop twiddling your thumbs, and go to fucking work. Then that's when I started getting a little, enough now. And it just was always these accusations. And he would literally call me 30 to 50 times a day. And it was always checking up on me. And sometimes he'd just breathe on the phone. Or he would have this bad habit of talking to other people when he would call me. Granted, I understand when you're at work or something, somebody comes over, you have to talk. But it's this is a habit. And one time I went with Peggy, a girls' trip. Thank God. Let me just get away with my Peggy for the night. And we went for 2 nights to Ocean's Casino. He literally called me 30 times from 4 o'clock to 10 o'clock. And she's like, Jodi, why does he keep bothering you? She goes, I called my husband to let him know we're here. He said, have a good time. Call me when you get back to the room. Because again, her husband's normal and loving and caring. And that's how it's supposed to be. But I remember when I answered the phone right before I went to the table games, because you're not allowed to be on the cell phone with table games. I remember she goes, are you going to pick that up? I said, Peg, I got to pick it up. I said, because if I don't, I'm going to have hell to pay, and it's going to be nothing but consequences and accusing of having sex with random men. And I didn't even know that came out of my mouth. And she told me that years later. And I'm like, you see how they brainwash you and condition you? And I remember picking up the phone. I'm like, Frank, I'm with Peggy. We're trying to have a good time. I made you breakfast, lunch, dinner. Enjoy your time at home. Watch your sports. I'm going to go gamble. So I'll call you when I get back to the room, okay? Okay. And everything was check in and make sure. And they leave you so on edge with everything. And if I didn't pick up the phone, that meant I was up to no good. So it's just the lunacy that they make you put up with. It's just absolute crazy. And that's just little tidbits here and there. So, and a lot of narcissistic abuse survivors tell me the same things. The isolation, the financial abuse, the verbal abuse. It's just the gaslighting. And it's just crazy. And it's so strange because for somebody that we were so glued together, at all times, even right before we moved in, and then obviously after we moved in, he had this whole double life behind my back. I had no idea because what they do is, they're talking to you, but then when you go in the kitchen to go cook and clean and serve them, they're on their phone texting the new supply. And there's usually 5 or 6. I mean, after the book came out, and I'm glad people let me know because it's better to know and accept it. People that I don't know, just say a lot of people out of the woodwork came and messaged me and said, hey, do you know your ex tried to get with me here? Or I didn't know he was still with you and we were together between this time. Woodwork of women. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, okay, well, I'm really sorry about that. And it was very strange because most narcissists don't like to portray that they're taken. And I was really literally the only woman that he's ever paraded around on social media. He always tagged each other. Me and my girl at the casino. My girl made me Yukon Gold mashed potatoes. We're having fun. We took silly photos, stupid photos, nice photos, whatever. So everybody knew we were together. And everybody's like, how are you two together? Because we're such opposites. We really are. But I always say we were like 2 pieces of a puzzle that weren't supposed to fit, but we just did. But the opposites attract, right? So obviously we enjoyed each other's company, but mine was all under false pretenses. Everything he told me was a lie. So I was in love with a fictitious character.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
And
what I tell narcissistic abuse survivors. I'm like, you got to realize once you're out of it, even if you're struggling, like if you're still in love with them a little, or you always hold on to it, the person you fell in love with does not exist.
yeah. Yeah.
As hard as that is to wrap your mind around.
And they also have different versions of themselves that they project to other people.
Yes.
So it's like somebody else could gaslight you and be like, you're crazy. He's really nice to me, or he did all this for me. And then narcissists love to like almost recruit people to like be their spokespersons. To like defend them. Jodi, I know it's not like a quick story, and I know that you've just scraped the surface, but what was kind of the moment that you realized that you were going to walk away? Like, because I know a lot of people, they don't always have a huge like breaking moment or breakdown. It's like it adds up, like all the little things over the years. But was there a moment, and how did that go? Because I know that that's very dangerous for women as well in abusive relationships to walk away. So how did you navigate that?
It is basically what happened towards the end of the book. Like we got engaged. I always talked about marriage. I stopped talking about it like a year and a half prior to us getting engaged. I thought he didn't have the balls to do it, I'll be honest. And then he finally did. So I'm like, okay, finally he gets it. Like I'm his person. Like, I mean, he's a pain in the ass, but I love him to death. He knew that. And I thought he was in it for the long haul. So we got engaged, had that honeymoon period, right? Booked the wedding. And what happened was, like, literally a month after we booked the wedding, I didn't find out till about 6 months later that he was so-called having an emotional affair with an older woman, 71-year-old married woman.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Jerry Springer shit.
Yeah.
So, I got to deflect with the humor. True story. So when I found that out, I was flabbergasted. Maybe that's the best word to say. I was like, dude, are you fucking kidding me right now? So I blew up. I found out the night before, and he had been acting very different the last 6 months. Didn't want to have sex, was being extra nasty, just didn't want to eat my food, which, come on, listen, I'm not Italian, but I cook like an Italian, okay?
all New Jersey people do.
Yes. He loved my cooking. He would never say no to it, okay? His belly proves it. So, I mean, he just, would always eat. But then it's like, you don't want to eat my food. You don't want to talk to me. You don't want to be intimate. You don't want to talk anymore. Like, he gave himself away, dude. You know what I mean? Narcissists think they're so smart, but they're actually the most low intelligence there is. The only thing they're intelligent in is the manipulation field, which is nothing to be proud of. So when I found this out, I simmered on it. I called Peggy right away when he was doing his night job. And I said, I'm going to let him know when he's at work at breakfast. I said, I can't do it face to face because I'm afraid of what might happen. I was smart about it. So I called him and I accused him. And I just said, I'm fucking done with you, dude. You're dead to me. I'm done. Blocked him, moved out. That was it. But then this is what happened. I planned on staying away. Was I so deeply in love with him? Oh, yes. The trauma, the betrayal, it cut me like a knife so deep that I wouldn't wish that on anybody, okay? You really don't recover from that kind of hurt. I will be honest. You will conform to the new you. You will accept it for what it is, but it certainly changes your view on people, on love, on men in the world, okay? So it does change you in a way. You just have to learn to conform to it. And I was like, going through it. And since he was blocked and I changed my number, what do narcissists do? They start to regret. They play the victim card. So what does he do? He reaches out to my best friend, Peggy. Oh, I'm sorry. It was just an emotional affair. Jodi's got to know I love her. I don't want to throw away 8.5 years of a relationship. Blah, 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 blah. And he knew she was empathetic as well. Okay. So she was struggling very much so with thinking about telling me. So she did tell me, but I tell her, you have nothing to feel guilty about. If it wasn't you, somebody else would have gotten to me to tell me. I'd rather it come from my best friend, right? Yeah. So I went back a second time. for a couple of months. A lot of stuff went on there. That's the climax of the book at the end. But I basically found out about the affair again. And now it was confirmed it was an actual affair. Again, he gaslit me. I tried to believe that it was just emotional, but it was obviously physical and whatever else it was. So I was done. So that time when I found out again about him in granny panties, I blocked it. Yeah, that's our nickname. And I said, you know what, I'm done. And he obviously had my new number because I went back to him a second time for a couple of months. I was with my other friend in Atlantic City at that time. He had just left with her for 3 days, because he called me 50 times a day, but wouldn't answer the phone for 3 days straight when he was supposed to take me out for my 40th birthday weekend. Yeah, that really didn't say much, right? So I went down on a Sunday when I knew he left. I printed the picture that I had sent of him and her, left it on his work truck. He must not have seen it till Monday morning. So I had blocked him, but it came through my iPad, the message. I just went to T-Mobile and blocked everything. Oh, you're the liar. It's just an emotional affair. You don't know what you're talking about. This is photoshopped. It's photoshopped.
Oh my gosh.
I had 10 different people from Atlantic City contact me. I have a lot of friends and a lot of people in my corner. And I don't ask people to report back to me, but they knew he was cheating on me and said, Jodi's a nice woman. She's a good woman. She doesn't deserve this. Okay. Like, what the hell, And he didn't even try to cover up his tracks. But you know what? I'm thankful he was that stupid and idiotic. Because it led to me finding out to make the decision to leave.
And it gives you validation, because when you're heartbroken, you're looking for those excuses. So it's like you almost need proof.
Yes, you do. You need that validation. So once I had it and I did it, that Sunday night when I got to Atlantic City, my other friend and her husband were there. I was waiting. I was like this, pent up with the phone. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to have this big blowout fight with him and he's done for good. She goes, Jodi, you already had, and you need the voice of reason, when you're in this state. Okay, I understand that. She goes, Jodi, you already had a big blowout fight with him in December. You already moved out of the house. You gave him a second chance. He told you he wanted to work things out. He blatantly has still been cheating on you these other past 6 months. He was just here this weekend. My husband and I saw him. Okay, she goes, there's no reason for a big blowout fight. She goes, I promise you, if you just go silent and just block him from your life, that will do the utmost damage to his ego.
Yes.
You know what? You're right. So I sat right in front of the slot machine. I'll never forget it. I blocked his number. I blocked him on everything. And I guess he got the hint when the phone calls wouldn't get through. Yeah. And I left him in June of 24. I wrote the book. I started it end of August 24. It was done by the end of September. Hit the shelves December 24.
And I'm sure that helped you process it as well, just getting it out.
Because
you can go to therapy, you can talk to friends, but writing everything down, oh my gosh, that's so therapeutic. And
it really was. And that's why I think it only took 30 days. Because listen, I'll be honest, I never paid attention in school. I'm somebody, a Gemini, we get bored easily. I have to be interested in what I'm learning or doing. So the only reason why I paid attention in school was music. I was in choir. I was an excellent trumpet player. That piqued my interest. But I never did writing or paid attention in class. So this is all new to me. But when I make a decision to do something, it's going to be done way before it's supposed to be. And I just went into the portal and it just kind of poured out of me. And I'm like, I don't even know how to construct it or how to do it. But I just wanted the readers to feel as if they were in my shoes. And I didn't physically say that. I just thought that in my mind. But I'd have to say 95% of the readers, whether it was my friends or people I don't know that wrote back to me and the Amazon reviews, they're like, wow, Jodi, I really felt literally I stepped into your shoes and I lived that life with you. And they're like, thank you. You validated a lot of the experiences that I went through also. Now I know I'm not alone. This can happen to anybody, any age group, anything. So, and that's the whole premise of the book. I tell people it's not about revenge. It's not about that. No. It's about helping others that are in the same situation realize the flaws that are in front of you with the narcissist, that you don't want to see the red flags, and take it for what it is and say, listen, this person is not going to change. They're not capable of changing. They see no fault in their bad behavior, and you have to make a better life for yourself. And, you know, I know it's predominantly male narcissists, like 70%. Listen, this can happen to men too. There are female narcissists there, but the percentage wise, it's males, and it's happening to women. And I get there's women that are married and have commingled finances, and have, you know, children. I just say make an exit plan. Put some money to the side. You know, see if you can stay with family or friends. If there's a will, there's a way. Okay? You know, I know some people said, oh, it must have been easier for you to leave. No, I was engaged to him. I had a life for 8.5 years.
Like almost a decade of your life. And it's, you know.
It's a lot. And then I, you know, because whoever reads the book, I mean, I put in the end of the book, which is the truth, which is very hard to go through. That was my darkest time, let me tell you. And, you know, my friends, and Peggy especially, was really there for me. At the end, when I found out about the affair and then I cut him off, like 3 days later, I found out that I was actively having a miscarriage. So just to add more fuel to the fire, it's okay, thank you. And I was always told I can never have children. I have PCOS. He's old. I'm on the pill. Like, this shouldn't have happened. Like, it's just the percentage wise. So for it to happen the last time I was with him intimately, and then, you know, finding out about the affair, and then leaving him, I mean, it just punched to the gut. Let me tell you, I mean, life really knocked me down.
Yeah. It's like when you're going through like something that like the universe is like trying to get you to move forward, they usually throw like a fork in the road to try to see, are you serious about leaving? Are you serious? And like, that's just so terrible. I'm sorry to hear that, but also it would have played on your mind as well. Like, talk about trauma bonding, like, oh my gosh, I miscarried his child. Maybe we were meant to be together. Like, you know, like it's just, it's like you said, the mental like warfare. And Jodi, I just want to say thank you so much for just being so real about this and cutting out all of like the fat, like, because I feel like you get straight to the point, and anyone listening can understand this, because there's a lot of buzzwords out there and you know, lingo, and you just really like, you know, are such a great storyteller, and you really paint a picture very quickly. And I think anyone listening to this that has gone through narcissistic abuse, whether it be in a relationship with a family member, you know, with a work colleague, like, you know, people like will really relate to this, and obviously they have with your book. I want to ask you about what you said at the beginning, being an empath to a narcissist is a moth to a flame, and the love bombing, and the trauma bonding. What do you think were his insecurities to draw in an empath like yourself? Because obviously he's older, nothing wrong with like age gap relationships, but you know, narcissists are strategic and they plan out their victims essentially. Like, you know, what were some of the insecurities that you think he had to choose someone like you to, like you said, be a supply for him as an empath?
I think, you know, they don't portray it, but from everything I've read, you know, about what narcissists feel internally, they're empty, they're dead inside, and they have to have validation. So, you know, I guess since he's hopped from one woman to the next, like literally his whole life, it's just something just otherworldly.
What really stuck out to me while you were talking was how you made excuses for him when you were doing your photo shoot, like the first time he ever let his like mask slip. And I think about with narcissists, the manipulation and also losing your sense of self. And I wonder, like, we always hear about the narcissists, right? What about you, the victim? Like, what were some of the changes and evidence that you felt like you were losing your sense of self you know, while you were in fight or flight mode, and he's self-sabotaging you, because also while you're being treated like this, you're having to almost put in emotional labor to understand why is he doing this, because it's so confusing. So for anyone listening, like, what are some of the signs that you're losing your sense of self?
I would say if you're always on eggshells, you're nervous all the time, you have like ruminating thoughts, like when you're with them, there's different ruminating thoughts as to oppose when you leave them, but it's like, what are they doing? Or like, why didn't they answer the phone? Or, oh my God, I was taking a shower and I didn't answer the phone. What is he going to accuse me of now? Is he going to punish me, not answer the phone for a couple of hours? Like you tend to self-blame even though there shouldn't be. And then you start losing your identity and making fun and, you know, everything. So it's like, oh, well, but I always go out with my good friend Sean, like on Saturdays, and we go shopping for clothes, and he knows I love Sephora and Ulta, and it's like, oh, I can't go because he's going to be pissed at me if I go out with my friends. Like it would literally be like that ridiculous. And like, this is somebody like he worked with for like 18 years, you know, and it just made no sense. And he knew all my friends. Like it wasn't like this big conspiracy, but see, again, I'm not better than anybody. Okay, we're all equals on this earth, but narcissists are from the underworld, but you know, normal people here. But it's like, I'm very well liked. I have a lot of friends, and really where the insecurities come from a narcissist, they're lonely, they're empty inside, they hate themselves. So they're jealous of you, right? So he was jealous and mad because I had friends to call, hey, Jodi, what at this burger joint? Hey, Jodi, let's go shopping. Hey, Jodi, let's go here. Let's go there. You know, he was jealous because guess what? He never had anybody calling him doing
right.
it.
And it's like kind of like sad in a way, because either he's isolated himself to the point where he doesn't have a support system, and he doesn't have people to turn to. And so that might be a sign that you're an empath that's kind of a narcissist is drawn to. If you have a healthy support system and people that you can count on. And I'm not, you know, feeling sorry for him or anything, but like it helps to understand how these people work, because what was his childhood like? You know, are there like common denominators with narcissists? Because there's two types of people in the world. It's like, yes, you have a hard childhood, you create a support system for yourself. Or you play the victim for the rest of your life and you don't gain that support system, and then you latch onto other people for that supply, like an energy vampire almost. So, sorry to interrupt you. What were you going to say?
Oh, no, you're fine. No, I was just saying, like you were saying about, you know, how there could be childhood trauma. They say that's usually where narcissism stems from. But again, I call a spade a spade. You know, we've all had trauma, right? Whether it's in childhood, adulthood. I mean, you know, I understand that it could be passed down from generation to generation. But you know what? I always use this example. There was a father, right, who's an alcoholic. He had two sons. One son went on to become the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. The other son became an alcoholic. So somebody went to these two sons and said, hey, sir, what made you become a CEO and be a huge success? He goes, because my father's an alcoholic. Ask the other son, why are you an alcoholic? Because my father's an alcoholic. You see the same answer, two different mindsets. You either learn bad behavior, or you see it and say, I don't want that kind of life. I want to be a better person. So see, narcissists, they don't have a core self. They don't know who they are. They're a chameleon. And they like to mirror. You know, and, like, that's what they do. See, with me, like, he knew I didn't drink. I don't do drugs. Then he wouldn't show any of that to me the first 2.5 years, not even a hint of it. And he would talk a lot and just, you know, we talk about the casino or whatever the hell. But, you know, like, say when he was with the mistress, like, you know, I don't know, she liked to drink, I saw in the picture, rum and Cokes. My ex don't drink rum and Coke, but he was drinking it with her. Because he has to mirror her. He has to hook her in.
Yes. Oh, wow. You're giving me such an aha moment right now, because
they don't have their own personality.
Yeah, because like honestly, a lot of narcissists I've read somewhere that they have like borderline personality disorder, which is like huge for like wearing a mask and to, like you said, mirror other people. And you see celebrities, like if you pay attention, you can actually spot celebrities and people in the public eye that mimic other people, and they really are scary because they are like playing a role. They don't know how to show emotion. So it's like, it's this huge performance. Something feels off. Like, that's it. Like, it's like, it doesn't feel genuine with them. Like, something just feels like it's not right here. Like, it's almost like a gut feeling. So thank you for explaining that. And I just want to touch on, you know, just this scary, like, driving fast, you know, that form of intimidation that a lot of men use to show you like, I've got control of you. It's like, I can't imagine how scary that was with him drinking as well. And the silent treatment when he got in the car, that's a huge sign of narcissistic abuse. And obviously he broke that silence to yell at you, but initially, right, you're expecting him to talk and he's just silent, like but the scariest thing I think was at the casino when he grabbed you in front of your friends, because like that is something that really shocked me, because if someone can do that in front of your friends in public, it doesn't matter how intoxicated they are. It's like, what are they capable of doing behind closed doors? And that leads me to my next question. Were you ever afraid that it would turn into physical abuse, or was there any physical abuse, if you feel comfortable sharing that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's all in the book. I don't want to say it wasn't too much physical. It was more handsy. That was part of the Miami incident that was in the book, when he got upstairs and he was yelling and screaming. He slammed me against the wall twice.
Yes.
He got handsy. And again, like usually, you know, I'm 6 foot, you know, I'm from New Jersey. So, you know, I got that tough attitude to me, but I'm a softie on the inside, okay? But when that happened, you freeze because you're like, who is this person, you know? And he finally just literally passed face forward drunk on the bed. And that's why I hysterically called my mom. I told my mom everything. I told Biggie everything. So a lot of abuse survivors, they hide the abuse. You know, once I started really seeing a pattern, you know, when it got bad and stuff, I told my friends and I told my mom, and she wanted me to leave, but I was too trauma bonded. I was like, no, Mom, this isn't the real him.
Right.
He loves me. Like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm just gonna, because see, I'm not a quitter. I don't quit on anything I do. I was raised very old school, work things out. But as I've said on other podcasts, the only thing I've ever quit on in my life is him, because he was going to be the death of me. And I truly believe that. Okay, because what they do to you, the trauma, the betrayal, the hurt, they murder your soul. Like, there's a rebirth that happens when you leave people. It's like spiritual warfare. So, you know, I really believe in that stuff, and I believe everybody has a path in life. And for me, I just believe my path was a little harder. But guess what? There's other people who's walked even harder paths. But mine was to be with this person for a season, you know, and the reason is to bring awareness of narcissism and how to get away from it and break away. And, you know, I'll give you a classic example. Again, little snippets from the book. See, he trusted me with his life because he knew I would never lie, cheat, steal, even though he would accuse me all the time. So it's like a paradox. And I was holding a lot of his money when I first left him. 3 days later, my stepfather went to the house, gave it to his family member, done. When I went back to him a second time, I was holding like, I think it was like $3,000, $2,900 to pay the taxes for the house, even though I wasn't living back with him again. And then I found out about the affair. I went and I paid his taxes. But I wrote him a note and I said, I'm keeping $500 of this money because that's what I lost in the deposit to the wedding hall. And I left him a note. And I also did, even though I was completely no contact, I left him the receipt, because this was like literally like the day I had the miscarriage, like the day after. So this is right after I blocked him. I said, I paid your taxes. Here's the receipt. I said, and I kept the $500 for the deposit. I lost to the wedding. And I said, by the way, I had a miscarriage, you miserable piece of fucking shit. I said, burn in hell, goodbye. Whatever. I said, I was angry. I don't care.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. He went around saying the smear campaign, which is a big thing, that I'm a gold digger, that I stole from him. I never stole a fucking dollar from him. I was not raised like that, okay? I was raised by good people, okay? My stepfather stepped into my life when I was, I think, 3.5. Very old school mannered man. I was raised properly. And even though in this kind of instance where I had every reason to get revenge on him, keep that money, I'm talking like 60,000 plus, okay? I gave it back because at the end of the day, it's not my money, okay? And God says, well, I gave it back. I never had an urge to keep it and say, oh, F him. No. You know what his karma is? Not being with me the rest of my life. Okay? I'm not saying I'm better than anybody, but if he had any chance at life of having normalcy and having a righteous life and somebody who truly loved him, even with all his flaws, it was with me. So his karma is that he will never speak to me again. I know he stalked me on the podcast. Hi, honey, look how well I'm doing without you. Okay? But it's just, you're not with me, and it's all on you. And you can't say I didn't give you a second chance, because I did. I went against my own self-constructed rules and gave him a second chance. And he proved to me yet again that he didn't care about me. He thought I was just some other asshole that he was going to cheat on, belittle, put me down. I mean, the things he would say, make fun of me constantly. Nobody should ever do that in life. And when I talk to my therapist, I'm like, I've been bullied my whole life. And I don't have a victim mentality, but it's I'm an empath. I've been bullied by men since I was like 8 years old. So it's like, it doesn't make sense. But when you see who you are as a person, see, the narcissist is attracted to your love and light because they know they can't get that. No matter how hard, they can't buy that. They can't do that. They can mirror it. They can pretend. But at the end of the day, they know they do not have your heart, your good intentions, because this is what happens with the narcissist. They love bomb, they put you on a pedestal, and then something switches, and then they resent you. And
and then the smear campaign happens.
And there's like 2 other things I just wanted to mention. Like a lot of narcissists have a mother wound. Does not, I don't want to say the word hate, but he really dislikes his mother. And let me tell you something. His mother is a wonderful woman. I've met her a couple of times. There's another isolation thing. When I was with him, I begged and pleaded with him to make up with his mother because I desperately wanted a mother-in-law because I believe family values. I believe in family. Even though I have no kids, no brothers and sisters, whatever little family unit, I believe in all sticking together and having that. I tried to give him what he never had. And he wouldn't let me talk to his mother. I ran into her a couple of times, grocery shopping, whatever. And there's that mother wound. So eventually, when I just started doing 125% of everything, his taxes, his business, cleaning the house, cooking, cleaning, doing the bills, he was doing his little part. But I mean, it's like I had no life other than being Cinderella, if that makes sense, okay? I was working a full-time job at the time, doing the school bus, getting my real estate license. It's like, dude, how much work can you suck out of me, you know? And he started looking at me as his mother, you see? Whatever, maybe because I was doing too much. It's like I was being punished for taking too good care of him. And then he started to resent me for that. I mean, listen,
it's like you could talk all day about like the psychology behind that. Like, I'm sure if we dug deeper, it's like you have to look at who his father was and like, and like, I really relate to that because I've known a few narcissists that they keep certain people away from you because it's too exhausting for them to change mask. And they're scared that the person that they're keeping away from you will reveal who they really are. So they don't want you to meet because they've got to isolate the different versions of themselves. And then I found it really interesting how you were talking about how like you're stepping into a completely different version of yourself, which is great, but it's also like tragic because that's a decade of your life like gone that, he wasted. And it made me think about something in therapy when I was dealing with a narcissist, a family member. I was feeling really guilty for the family member to not have me in their life anymore. Like, that's what empaths do. Like, we're like, oh, we're worried about them. Even after they've hurt us, we still are like thinking, oh, are they okay on their birthday? Are they okay, like, you know, doing all these things? And my therapist said, well, did they think about you before they like damaged a huge portion of your life? And they don't ever think about the other person. It's just how your presence in their lives affects them positively. And the minute that you take away their access to you, it's like they don't need you anymore. Like, it's not surprising that he didn't get in contact with you. He's like, oh, well, I can't get anything from Jodi anymore. So moving on to go back to the grandma or whatever, the 71-year-old. Yeah. And also, I've actually seen people date a lot older or a lot younger, and it's not about the physical attraction. It's actually about the supply. Like, how do they feel with that person? Do they feel like a young buck, or do they feel like better than the other person because they're older? Like, it's all about how that person shines a light on them and puts them on a pedestal. So that didn't surprise me very much.
No, because it's a mix of whatever they feel. I think with him, like I would do this joke with him. And again, I'm never mean-spirited. Like, he would say something mean to me, and I'd be like, okay, Grandpa. And I would, like, joke around. But he legitimately got really angry when I called him that. And I'm like, take it easy, bro. I'm like, I'm just kidding. You could call me a C-U-N-T, but I can't call you Grandpa. You know? And then he would make fun of me, like with my school bus job, that I didn't make enough money. Well, honey, you knew that's how much I made when you first dated me. And you shouldn't date somebody for what they bring to the table. This big thing that, you know, men are saying now and all this stuff. As a society, what is all of this? It's so transactional. You're supposed to love and care about the person who they are. You know, the funny thing is, I laugh is because supposedly this older woman, okay, maybe she has a little bit of money. I don't know. I don't know anything about her. I don't care. It disgusts me. When I pass a nursing home now, I think of her and I'm like, oh, what the hell? But, you know, it's just, I have bettered my life in so many ways since I left him, because now I have time to focus on me, my book, my real estate endeavors, everything. So I'm in so much better of a position. You know, just to give you a little insight, when I left my ex 2 years ago, you know, a little over 2 years, I moved 6 times in 2 years. It's a lot. It's a lot, because I had to figure out what was the best move. What can I do, this and that. Now I'm finally settled, and I'm like, I'm good. All right, we're good here. I got my stuff going on. I'm busy. I got a great group of friends. You know, I don't give myself enough credit how far I've come, because it is a lot to deal with that. And it's a lot to say, you know, one day, hey, somebody who I thought was the love of my life at one point, okay, no more. Not even hello, bye, F you. Like, that's it. So, you know, it's easier said than done. But I mean, once I have it in my mind, I knew that night when I blocked him the second time, I'm like, this is my closure. I'm never going to get it. It's all going to be lies, you know, so it is what it is. And I think about 8 women so far. I mean, hopefully there's more, but 8 women personally contacted me and said they left their toxic ex after they read my book. They gained strength.
I love that. That must give you so much energy.
It does.
There's nothing like hearing those types of stories from people. And sometimes you're like, why am I doing this work? And then that just reminds you of your higher purpose. And Jodi, can you talk to our audience a little bit about what it entails to be a recovery coach or go to a recovery coach?
Yes, I did an online course. It really divulged into the psychology of how a narcissist thinks, maneuvers, all their hoovering tactics, everything that they do. And they literally are all textbook. I mean, there's some things my ex Frank wasn't textbook with, or the timeline was a little off, but they're all cut from the same cloth. So once you learn the psychology, then you get a better understanding, and it helps you with your healing journey. And then when I coach others, and I also run a narcissistic support group on Facebook called Jodi's Triumph, and I run it with one of my friends. And, we'll put like some quotes on there, or, hey, does anybody want to have open discussion, or you DM me. It helps when I coach other women because everybody's at a different stage, right? There are women that are in denial. No, I can make this work.
Yes.
Somebody's like, I'm leaving tonight. Another one's like, I'm leaving in a month. Everybody's different, okay? All different situations. But I tell them the facts, and I tell them personal things that happened to me. Like, one woman wrote to me a while back and said, well, I really feel like an urge to text him and tell him how much I miss him. And then I would tell them, listen, I went no contact with my ex. I left him a note in the mailbox at his house saying that I paid the taxes. I told him I had a miscarriage. I said, not that I wanted him to or expected him to, because he was fully blocked, but I thought bare minimum he would have at least texted Peggy, my best friend, and said, is Jodi okay? 3 words. He didn't have to get into the whole Jodi left me again, she's got it wrong, because he certainly reached out to her when he wanted me again to supply. But for the mere fact that he didn't reach out to any one of my friends, especially Peggy, just say, is Jodi okay? Knowing of my anxiety levels, knowing of the miscarriage, that to me, that just was like, holy shit, this man fucking hates me. So when you have that aha moment that they cannot even check in on you, not even through
they
friends.
don't. It doesn't. It's not a part of their day. It's not a part of their thought process.
They don't. They don't either believe it, or they're just like, oh, I don't care. Fuck her. She left me. So I use that
it's
as
more validation for you when you're going through those trenches, because of the grief and mourning of the future that you had. That doesn't go away. Like, it just, over time gets easier, but that might still come up for you. So when you're going through that, or anyone listening, they can think about how much thought this narcissist put into losing you.
Exactly. And that's why I use that as an example. I said, you see, if he couldn't even check in with my friends to see if I'm okay, that shows how little they care about you. And if you're not giving them what they want, they have to punish you. And there's another big word that I tell other people. It's becoming a little more awareness. Now we're into the years mark where they still abuse you in a sense, smearing your name, making comments, flashing the new supply, whatever they want to do. They constantly belittle you, put you down, still call you a gold digger, a whore, a bitch, a slut, whatever the new word is of the day. This is to be expected. And I tell all women too, once you leave a narcissist, that's the easy part. And they're like, no, it's not. I said, try living the rest of your life. Without them, and dealing with the post-separation abuse.
Absolutely.
You mentally get prepared for it. And I know it sounds a little harsh the way I'm saying it, but I want women to get that strength from within and say, oh shit, you know what? Jodi's right. I have to be ready. And my ex did A through Z, all the classic textbook things. And he still does. I don't care. He's blocked on everything. He's not a thought in my mind. When I talk about the book and about narcissism, a lot of my friends say, does it bother you? Does it bring up the past? I'm like, no, because I'm over it. I'm the one that left him twice. I made the decision to leave him. I didn't want to leave him. I had to leave him. See, there's a heal in your own time. It's all linear, okay? But I just think about the word narcissist and about what I went through. And if I can help more women, even one person, to not deal with the pain and the anguish and the years wasted that I had to go through, it's all worth it, because it's an epidemic. This narcissism there's no cureness for this.
Yes. Okay? And that's a hard reality.
Yeah, I think there is a cure. It's like the narcissist has the narcissist has the disease, you have the symptoms, because they have the disease and they're giving you the symptoms, fight or flight. Another thing that they cause, right around that Miami incident, I suffer from a lot of medical things like invisible illnesses, fibromyalgia, migraines, back, you name it, whatever. But part of life, right? We just take care of ourselves the best we can. Yeah. Right into that Miami incident, I got diagnosed with fibromyalgia. Don't you think that's coincidental? My migraine started increasing. My skin was breaking out. My weight was going up and down. My cysts were rupturing in my ovaries. All of this craziness because your body is such high with the cortisol. And now, like even though it's like almost 2.5 years I left him now, my cortisol was so high, what goes up must come down, right? Now I'm in a crash out, in a swing. My cortisol is low, but my fight and flight mode is still high as
yeah.
Hopefully that comes down within time, but again, there's residual effects that happen to being with the narcissist too long. So I'm just happy I got out when I did.
Yeah.
And, we just deal with it as best we can and just be happy that I'm in this place, a safe place, and I can help others. That's the most important.
Well, Jodi, thank you so much for talking to me about this today. You think you read and learn everything online, but then you meet an expert like yourself and you just learn so much more. And I'm just the statistics and the examples that you've given, I know will help anyone listening today. And for those that are struggling right now, where can they find you as a recovery coach? Are you able to show your book as well?
Yes, I don't have the book cover on me, but I could bring it up on my iPad if you'd like. It's Jekyll Can't Hyde. Yes, it's HYDE by Jodi Pavlock. It's on Barnes & Noble's online too, but it's most commonly bought on Amazon Books. So on Amazon it's available. Kindle, hard book, paperback, whatever kind you'd like. Anybody can DM me, usually on Facebook. It's Jodi Pavlock. I'm Meta certified. There's Jodi's Triumph. That's my narcissistic support group on Facebook. Yeah. Instagram is Jodi Pavlock, and TikTok is Jodi P 1984. So you can find me on any of those outlets, and I try to message back everybody. Sometimes I get overwhelmed, but I usually get back to everybody as quickly as possible and help whoever I can help in the process.
Amazing. And Jodi, just to leave you with a last question today, why do you think that you're a survivor of narcissistic abuse today?
I think I'm a survivor because I finally learned to love myself more than him. And I decided to put myself first and say, I don't deserve this kind of treatment. Nobody does. And to make a better life for myself. And I have, and I still got some more work to go, but hit the pavement every day and keep going. That's it.